game. We're going to break down the picks and bans. Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Love having you here.
Pleasure. Thank
Good
you.
luck tomorrow.
Congrats on Plat, Diamond next season.
There you go.
Yeah. See you guys.
Goodbye. All right.
Add me.
There we go. So, third game is afoot. Samsung Galaxy back on the blue side, back with first pick, and we got to see what they've adapted to, because it's the same, in a way, situation for the very first game. They're on the same sides with the same chance to pick things, but we are seeing new adaptations out of the pick and ban phase.
Yep, the Rise ban from SKT becoming a red side ban, so it's not first picked away, and we'll see that happen quite frequently is when something is just really devastating. And even the team that played it last game and played it incredibly well will ban it on their side, so it's not in the hands of their opponent.
Yeah, so we have exactly one ban change this time around. It's the Olaf ban being added for SK Telecom T1. They've dropped the Misfortune ban they had put in before, so that's now available as a counter pick to Zyra as we normally know it in the draft phase. It's like her one trick there, which means the draft phase changes up. No longer does Samsung Galaxy first pick the Zyra, whose counter pick was previously banned away, but now they'll Elise with one extra jungler off the table.
And I'm very curious to see, you know, Samsung, obviously, they can play the Zyra. We haven't seen Wolf play a champion like Misfortune, so we don't know if he has it prepared, and it's one of these things where SKT could be trying to bait their opponents into picking something and then trying to counter it.
Right. Crucially have that final pick available for SK Telecom T1. They're up 2-0, and they have the chance to counter any matchup they choose to. Any one matchup they can guarantee they get the last pick on. And we can see that they've once again gone for that same Jhin AD carry, the same AD carry, the same marksman 3 times in a row. And Faker is also back on the Orianna. Rise was banned out, doesn't get to play it, so back to the Orianna he goes.
And this is another tactic as well, is taking away top champions from other players or playing something that's a counter to what you know they're going to play, right? The Orianna for Faker, he's going to play that into Victor and be incredibly comfortable, and Victor is Crown's best champion when you're seeing Syndra, Cassiopeia, and Rise off the table, that this Aurelion Sol that keeps getting hovered may get locked in here because they don't want to fall into SKT's plan.
And Aurelion Sol will be very interesting to me because so it does get locked in. This is something that I've been anticipating coming into this series because both Faker and Crown, the mid laners for their respective teams, do not play this champion. It's a very, very powerful one though, and it's perma-banned against a lot of people who do play it, and it has been very popular in the meta, especially in this patch. So the fact that Crown has learned this, it's kind of been SKT's bane. They almost always seem to lose to Aurelion Sol, and I am very excited to see Crown bust it out.
Yeah, right before the Rocks Tigers semifinal for SKT, SKT had lost against Aurelion Sol twice, and it was the only 2 games that they had dropped at all throughout the tournament. So this is a champion that has really given Faker some problems, and the fact that Faker has already locked in his champion means he doesn't get to adapt and play something he might be more comfortable playing into the Aurelion Sol.
Right, it's Crown saying, I know what you're playing, I feel good about this matchup. We also know, again, from the earlier ban phase that with Misfortune unbanned, that needs to be saved as a possible counterpick, so SKT will not go for a support. Essentially, for sure, they grab their own jungler, they grab their top laner, and once again, that same Trundle, and Samsung Galaxy says, you know what, we'll call your bluff, Zyra's in anyway.
Now they're trying to see, because it's a best of 5, but now they're in game 3. Got to test it.
And this is what I was talking about. So it's saying, Wolf, you must have this prepared or we get the advantage. And that's why SKT leaves their support pick for last, which is not very common. It's more usually about the solo lanes, especially when you have someone like Faker on your team, best player in the world. Usually want to give him that pick. But they're saving it for Wolf, and we'll find out if he has prepared this champion and is willing to lock it in.
And as the time ticks down, you get 60 seconds to make your choices here before the game picks a random one for you. And you got to make sure you pick what you actually want, because random turns out it's not going to be what you want very frequently. And right now they're hovering on the Karma, which is a reasonable pick, but is not the one you expect if you know all the champions, if you know the matchups. Nami I actually think is a better choice than the Karma. I think it matches up pretty well. You can heal through a lot of the damage Zyra puts down in the lane, and that will be the pickup here for Wolf. Going on the Nami, the same champion he played last game, but now into a more difficult matchup.
And I actually really like the confidence here from Samsung. They're up against the wall. Make them call your bluff, right? They play the Zyra, and they are going to take it out. And now SKT didn't have Misfortune prepared, so they're going to get that advantage from being able to pick it. And SKT showed all the signs of being able to have it ready by leaving that pick for last and saying, you won't pick this because we'll play Misfortune. But they couldn't play it. So now they pick up Aurelion Sol, they pick up, and and we'll see if Samsung can pull it off, because I think they got the advantage in this draft.
Exactly. They basically got everything that they would want. They played the Aurelion Sol instead of the Victor and called Faker on that and said, we're not going to play that matchup again because we think you want it. And so they actually call an audible, they pivot, and also with the misfortune bluff, they called it. So Samsung Galaxy kind of got the better here from both a mental standpoint and a draft standpoint.
Yep.
The one weakness they do have, though, is I think it's still somewhat of a liability playing Poppy into Trundle. There's pros and cons here, because even if you get smashed, as hard as CuVee did last game on the Cannon, Poppy will almost always be useful. Her utility, her CC, crowd control, to speak it out better, her ability to reach the back line and disrupt somebody will remain. She's just more fragile and can die more easily, but that doesn't always mean a ton. However, it is still this good matchup for SKT's top laner Duke. It's once again Trundle into Poppy. He's been winning lane every single time this series and will probably do so again. And it is now time for this third game. Again, it is triple match point for SK Telecom T1. They are a single game away. They've got 3 chances to be the world champions here. If you have any questions about this game, about this match, hashtag AskTheCasters on Twitter. We'd be happy to answer your questions for you heading into what could be the final game of the season and certainly of the night. Samsung Galaxy must win 3 in a row to bring it back.
Oh, and you can see right here, just different start here from Ambition. He goes straight into the bottom lane, into the bottom brush. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a cheeky kill there if you bring your jungler and try to catch a support out, but he immediately backs and goes to the other side.
And this is actually something that kind of developed because teams started doing these little cheeky camps in the bush where they'd hide in the bush as a team, and then when you start to go fight the minions, you get chunked out. So it's now developed that teams have to bring their jungler down to check the bush and make sure their opponents are camping in the bush. So it's kind of funny how it's developed.
Yeah, and you can see CoreJJ standing a little bit further up, and because Zyra plants those seeds periodically, they come out every few seconds. She now gets to place them a little bit further up, try to get some harass off, which you saw with the Q when she popped the plant. And so she gets to spawn them a little bit forward and on the halfway point of the lane.
But you get to stomp on seeds, and SKT did just that. Ooh, nice. A good start. So yeah, Aurelion Sol constantly has these stars circling him. He can make them go farther out, do more damage, or keep him withdrawn like this. And the entire front of the champion is actually much more positioning based and less about actually like active skill usage. And it's what makes such a unique champion. It's harder to learn. And so far, pretty good landing a couple of those stars early on.
I've done really well with that, and so much of it with those stars is about how you position. You have to know this champion very well because each hit of the star is actually worth more than an auto attack from your champion. So it's kind of this hard habit to break for a lot of people where you have to actually give up auto attacks to make sure the stars hit.
Yeah, and you saw something there from Crown. Because Aurelion Sol has those stars orbiting him all the time, he's constantly doing damage, and he shoves the wave naturally. So he gets level 2 really early because he invades the jungle and takes away 2 little camps from Bengi. So as Bengi rounds this corner, he's going to notice he, instead of having 4, he's got 2 in that camp.
Yep, gold and experience denied away from SK Telecom's jungle. Look at this top lane matchup. Look how low that health bar is for CuVee. That is what you expect out of this matchup. Now, he's not expected to die here. He should get a lot of his health back. It's not completely a catastrophe. You can see he's regenerating quite nicely with the potions that he brought into the lane. But that's the type of advantage you're going to see from Duke almost this entire game long.
It certainly is, and it's honestly one of those things where if you're going to kill off the Trundle and put him behind, it has to happen pretty early. We saw in the previous game where it got to a point where Duke was actually winning a 1v2 against both Elise and Poppy, same champions we have in this game. So you have to kind of prey on this guy early and slow down his item progression, slow down him building up that strength.
Yeah, there's a term that we'll use. It's pre-6. It's before ultimates come out. And when we say you have to shut somebody down pre-6, Trundle is one of those champions.
And what's convenient is that usually happens around 6 minutes in.
Yeah.
Usually the solo laners hit level 6 at 6 minutes, so it's a nice, easy thing to track at home. And there's a timer in game as well if you're playing the game, and you've got until 6 minutes. Samsung Galaxy to get a kill on Duke just won't happen.
It's not with a significant investment.
Yeah.
A lot of
If you
people,
bring 4 people, it might
or
happen.
a misplay or something, but
Sure.
Definitely going to be advantageous for Duke. And so far, you know, Crown, he's doing pretty well for himself, but he's actually not constantly shoving like you would expect people to. He kind of allowed it to build back up and push towards him. One of the things that's very interesting about Aurelion Sol is people will base very early because he has this ability where he can fly. So you start walking in a direction, and after you've walked in that direction for long enough, you build up enough momentum, and you can take off.
That was nice. He forces the flash out of one. A little bit of damage comes through, but not too much burn. That flank meant a lot. And there's that early gank on the top side of the map. Duke getting quite low. The tackle comes through, forcing the flash out of him. And that is Duke missing a long summoner spell and taking plenty of damage. And the mid laners trading back and forth, but it's just a trade. They're both okay.
So that's exactly what we talked about. Having that little window of time where they can kind of prey on Duke, and we'll see if they can get Duke to expend his teleport, and they are going to get him to do that. So now Poppy has the ability to make a play elsewhere on the map. She's going to have this window where she can teleport to the bottom lane or the mid lane and help her team, and Trundle cannot match her.
Yeah, and the colloquial term for that will be TP advantage, meaning that you have it, they can't answer it. And so CuVee, he's actually going to use his teleport, not keep a teleport advantage, and just try to stay even in the lane and make sure it's not frozen on him, and freezing is a big minion thing.
Yeah, so we'll not probably dump into that too terribly much.
Pretty
but
high level.
The point is that you're essentially trying to deny golden experience from your opponent by the way you manipulate the laning phase. Either way, it's trying to be a good thing. But the ultimate thing to point out really is not that much ended up being gained by the top lane gank, right? The damage all got healed by being in the fountain. So Duke was back to full HP. He's still missing his flash summoner spell, but that's the only real gain that was had is, well, he can't get away if the repeat gank happens in the next 4 minutes.
Exactly, and you must make that repeat gank or there's no advantage, to your point, right? So you have to actually go and follow up on that. It's not an advantage unless you punish him in this window of time, and that's why you have to be thinking ahead. As a player in League of Legends, you have to be planning your moves a couple steps in advance to make sure you can follow up on it.
And this is what really sucks for a jungler as well, because you look at your bottom lane, the bottom lane is actually losing.
Crown doesn't know that Bengi's on that side. He's got to run to the left-hand side. Nice flash getting away from the shockwave, but that is, again, a big summoner spell down. A nice play by Faker to force it.
Yeah, he got a lot out of that, so this is a lane that could easily be visited by Bengi with his own flash and make a repeat gank.
So Bengi shows up mid, and he's going to get both those summoners. Nicely done for him, and I think you will likely see them look to return to the mid lane, especially once Faker has his shockwaves back. You know, you can flash in, you can shockwave, you can cocoon, you have all this CC, and Crown won't have the ability to dodge out so easily.
You see these players fighting over vision. We haven't talked about it directly very much. We've talked about what vision advantage is and playing around it, but essentially you place wards down on the map. They reveal the area around them. You can kill them if you can see them, though, and so you're fighting over these little sticks of vision that die very quickly when unprotected, and these players will constantly battle back and forth for those little glimpses into the river and those little glimpses into the jungle.
And they're worth so much as well when you end up getting those glimpses. The information, we talked about it before, where if a jungler walks into a lane and gives away his position, a lot of the power of a jungler is being where they cannot know you are there. So that's where the ganks come from, and they're surprising.
And an attempt in the mid lane as well, as Crown just does not land any of it. Faker playing that nicely, pops the ghost, trying to juke away, gets hit by one, dodges the rest, and well, that is still Faker's ghost down, so that is a summoner spell to be burnt.
That is the ghost down, and that was that flying ability that we talked about. Aurelion Sol was able to take off and fly over that wall. It's something that you can do, and it's something that makes this champion very difficult to deal with, because excellent Aurelion Sol players will push in their lane, shove their minions up to their opponent's turret, and then they can fly up to the top lane or fly down to the bottom lane and come straight over a wall where you can't see him coming and take someone out.
And even just getting back to lane, like you were talking about with his early backs, is so fast that he's already at the 10 CS per minute mark.
And he's doing great.
Ridiculous.
To clarify what we mean by backs and recalls and whatnot, you can't buy items until you go back to your base, which is away from all of the gold and all of the experience, but it's where you get more powerful. So you have to find times to leave the action and then come back in. And because minions spawn every 30 seconds and it takes longer than that to get back to the map, you've got to find those windows. He's been able to do that pretty well and find those new items. And now a fight in the bot lane. CoreJJ immediately to block the curtain call, and it will mean that none of those shots are going to hit the Ezreal. Nicely played. No damage goes through to the squishier marksman.
Very well done.
Stun lands, though. Ooh, that was nice right there. Gets away from the shockwave just in time. Elise can dash to a teammate and does so in the nick of time.
Yeah, that was really quick reactions from Ambition. Dashed out of that shockwave. Likely would have gone down because the cocoon from Bengi, that CC out of Elise, she shoots out this projectile. If it hits you, you get stunned. That would have hit because he was CC'd.
Looking for the roam, flies into the bottom lane, looking for enough damage to deal, gets his own stun in on the enemy AD carry.
Bengi's here, though.
Yeah, Bang is fine, and the root's going to land. There's all the damage they need! And first blood comes through. Telecom T1 forcing the flash and actually landing the slow, but They will not chase it through, just the 1 for 0.
And funny enough, there's the punish for not having flash, but it's not even in his lane, it's in the bot lane. He could not flash away from Bengi. Bengi fully commits to that, flashes
nice.
in on Elise, CCs, and gets that kill.
That pillar was huge for Duke. He might have enough damage. That was a crucial ultimate. That needed to land for CuVee. He would have gotten willed down. The traffic cone, the block, normally it's a pillar of ice, but he's using a different skin. And that removed the escape path of CuVee.
And so we're actually seeing something really interesting here from Crown, and it's the adaptation of the series. If you think back to the previous game in Game 2, Faker won the game, not by going through Crown, but by going to all the other lanes and roaming. So Crown is saying that the way to win this game isn't through Faker, it's to go other places, and he got punished for it because he got called on it by Bengi. So you're seeing them kind of adapt to the way the other team was playing, but it looks like SKT are already ready for that.
It's one of the weird things about League of Legends. Something we talked about very early on is you have imperfect information. You don't always know where everyone is. If he knew Bengi was stalking him, you might have never made that play, but odds are he's not there. He took a gamble. The gamble did not pay off. However, Samsung Galaxy still with enough control were able to take another Drake for themselves. It is, to quantify it a little bit, I think it's less worth than killing a turret, but more worth than getting a single kill. If you wanted to put it in gold numbers, right now consider it worth maybe 600 to 1,000 gold.
Yeah, which is pretty good, right? Especially because they did not have to fight over it. And another thing to keep in mind is just because this one play from Crown did not work out, doesn't mean he shouldn't keep trying. You have to have the confidence to keep going for this. And here's the punish, right? Crown gets turned around and he gets CC'd. Bengi, no hesitation, flashes forward. That was in the little blink forward. CC's up Crown, and they're able to take him down because he didn't have the flash from the mid lane gank earlier.
Bengi's movements there were just perfect because he actually sat in the bush for an extra second to see how hard Crown was going to commit to it instead of walking out and making Crown back off immediately.
Looking for a bit more damage. Bengi is very close to death, and ultimate nearly would have killed him off. Doesn't quite land the Sonic Wave. And Faker still trying to make Crown's life difficult, playing very up despite being a bit of a 1v2. Gets away with it, nicely done. More damage, I think, was actually dealt by SKT in that gank.
It certainly was, and it actually could have been a lot worse for Samsung, but Bengi missed his cocoon. So he shot that out. He wasn't able to hit anyone. Otherwise, they would have been able to have a lot of free damage on this guy as he was stunned.
So players battling back and forth. You just saw another ward be killed off by CuVee. He's actually going to help blind Duke about who's coming near him, but this is a very durable Trundle who's going to have a pretty easy time getting away from any 2-on-1. More resources will need to be sent if he's supposed to die here.
But it is key to kill that off. It means that your opponent has to respect the threat of it. And Ruler, look at that damage he took.
I mean, he's been up in CS, 20 CS since the early game, and this Ezreal that Ruler's playing, it has to scale. It has to wait until it has that tier, that little drop in its inventory to stack up to 750, and it takes a very long time to do so. So
looking at 20 minutes.
Quite weak right now.
Yeah, so it's basically the investment in his items for later. These items become more powerful once they're completed. Does that through completing the cast of spells. And he's weaker now, will be stronger later if he makes there.
And another flash forced out of Crown. Faker is constantly finding ways to get an advantage. A little ward right there against the cliff, sees over the wall, and he says, you're walking that way? From over the wall, Faker just hits him a whole bunch, says, ha ha ha, your health bar's down, forcing another big summoner spell out.
And so he's doing a trade of cooldowns. Ultimate for Flash. The ultimate's like a fourth of the cooldown of the Flash, so he's going to do it every time. It's one of the reasons that Ghost is the more frequently used summoner spell by mid laners, because it's such a low cooldown. If you can blow your Ghost and get the enemy Flash in return for it, you will do that every time, because it's basically you put a cost on it. The lower one is definitely the one that's going to get more value.
It's up twice as often. Second time around, he no longer has Flash for that attempt, and he's got to do something else to get away from you. Either way, this game is still in SK Telecom's lead, 1-0 in kills, and up about 1,000 gold, and that definitely puts them in a good spot. You've got to see if Samsung Galaxy can get anything else turned around here. Ambition looking towards the bottom side, but look at that. He's been seen by a ward. He's walking through that little red health bar in the green circle. That's a ward. He got spotted on the bottom side of the map. There's another one to his left, that red health bar. That's another ward. Yep. They know what he's doing, and he's in between a whole bunch of SK Telecom.
And I actually wanted to touch on something here because when I was watching the chat earlier, people were talking about from game 1 where Caitlyn had sold the boots. Do I not have to buy boots if I'm just good at positioning and moving around? Well, you actually see that.
Yes.
yeah, you have to buy them. Like you can see most people's first item is even a completed boot.
And there comes the fight into the top side of the map. The knockback doesn't come through in time. That was very tight timing. A quarter second sooner, that spell comes out and CuVee lives, but well played by SKT. We even saw some things by Bengi. Either way, top lane kill is nice, and SKT another assassination up there.
And that was kind of the punish for seeing Ambition on the other side of the map on those wards that you pointed out, Phreak. And to your point, Zirene, you know, the boots is not just about positioning, it's about moving around the map, getting back to lane, being in the right place at the right time.
Another shotgun's going to land. Crown's running out of health, but so is Faker. It's a tight trade right now. Ooh, true shot barrage nearly comes out, and that came through from Crown's teammate. If it hit, Faker might have died there.
And 100% right there, Faker had no mana, Crown had mana, so you're thinking with your God vision, why doesn't Crown just continue to chase him and kill him? Because Crown has imperfect information. He doesn't know where Bengi is except on the top side of the map.
Oh, that landed, he was dead. That Sonic Wave right there just snaked past Faker. He dodged it. If that spell lands, for sure Faker dies.
And this is something that Faker was always the guy's cheating. He's so good at sidestepping all these skill shots, all these abilities. It feels like there's no way it could be fair.
Yeah, but he gets away with it. He gets away from the skill shot. Jukes left when he aimed right, and that was nicely done. And so Faker gets away with his life despite a very low health bar. You saw Ambition try to steal away parts of the jungle, but he was pushed out by Bengi, and in fact, Ambition had to use his own ultimate, his kick. It's a fairly long cooldown, about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and that's not going to be available for probably the next fight as he had to get his opponent away. You're seeing some great trading right there. SK Telecom's dual lane walking in, landing a couple of shots, and walking right back out and continuing control of the lane.
Certainly is, and Faker picking up that blue buff. We've talked about it a number of times, but it increases the mana regen, increases the damage you deal, and allows you to use those abilities more often. So it's very powerful, and this is going to be a strong point for Faker, especially because he just hit level 11, which means he got to rank up his ultimate again. So his most important ability is now even more powerful.
And on a shorter cooldown as well, so he can constantly punish Crown.
And right there in the top lane, you saw we toggled vision, tried to see what was going on over there. But first, it's a battle in the bottom side. Nice juke. Ruler's gotten away from 2. 3 of the shots. This time slowed around, gets away from the 4th. And it's actually, wow, Bengi forced away. A nice counter right there by CoreJJ. Puts in the plants, pops his own ultimate. And Bengi does not want to be part of that fight after all. I got to compliment Ruler, though. Dodged all 4 of the ultimate shots that came out of Bang.
Yeah, so well played there by Ruler and CoreJJ, even dropping the Ignite, giving that threat of the kill and saying you have to respect the chance that Ambition could be here.
And now Duke is here looking for that one-on-one. The advantageous matchup should be getting a lot of damage here. A great pillar buys even more time. The slow helping. And you can see he gets about 1/3 of his health bar down. Do that a few more times, you get the kill. The one thing that Samsung Galaxy is doing well is they're stealing away these Drakes when they don't really have rights to them.
They certainly don't. And the scariest part about that fight in the top lane is you're like, well, Duke's losing health too. Why does it matter? Duke's right back to full health. This character, through the items he buys and the passive ability that he has, when minions die around him, he gets health back. And also, he has lifesteal through the Ravenous Hydra, the item that he has completed. So he can lose some health to deal damage, and he'll heal it right back up.
Yeah, and that's why we call it trading. And a lot of the times, it's just a gigantic thing where people take, you know, chunk of damage each.
I'll hurt you, you hurt me.
Exactly. You're trading damage, but this is where the advantageous matchup comes into play, like you said. So he's basically trading, and with enough time, he goes back to nothing and lost from the trade at all.
Exactly. I hurt you, you hurt me. Just kidding, didn't hurt at all. Ha ha ha. All is well. Shockwave's going to land. The bubble. Ooh, good flash. That is Crown repeatedly flashing away from these skills, not quite dying to them, but he is constantly under threat. One of these times it'll probably work, and you can see the sliver of health left on that mid lane turret. It is almost dead. And
it's really impressive how Faker just always seems to be the one getting so much more damage on these mid lane turrets. He took a solo first turret, I think, in game number 1 on Orianna, and here he is again, working down this turret, and the team is going to come in to try to get that gold.
Yeah, and in game 2, he lost his turret, and then he went to all the other lanes and ended up just winning the game off of that. So Faker's game sense is really, really high, and he knows what to do in all of these situations. And even right now, he was down in CS previously when I was talking about how high up Crown was at the 10 per minute mark, and Faker passed him. Faker's now at the 10 per minute mark, and he's left Crown in the dust.
Unfortunate there for Crown. He's trying. He's bringing out new champions, doing what he can to hopefully catch his opponents off guard, hoping that they can put in the performance they need, but it is slipping away from Samsung.
To their credit, though, this is about as close as it's been in any of the games. They're not down that much just yet. Only about 1,500 gold, not even quite cresting that point, and they're hanging in there.
Yeah, and Samsung has never been an early game team, right?
No.
They don't play for that early game. Ambition is a mid-game, late-game shot caller and playmaker, so they aren't about controlling it early. They're about coming back, or if the game is even, they'll usually have a larger lead by the mid-game because they're able to move around the map and coordinate a little bit better than other teams.
We'll see if that coordination can come through, because we also know SK Telecom is one of the smartest teams in League of Legends. You never want to give these guys a lead. They almost always close it out. And even though this is somewhat Samsung Galaxy's wheelhouse, they've had a very hard time beating SKT before. The Shockwave's going to land Cocoon as well. Tidal Wave's there, everything they could possibly need. And Bengi gets the kill credit on this one. Also the catch onto Ambition, has to flash the wall, but still being chased down by the Elise. Here's the curtain call, looking for a bit more damage. Finally gets out of range and will slink away. Gets past that red line of the bullets, can't reach that much farther. You see a battle in the top lane, and despite how low Duke looks, he does not care.
Yeah, and look at him, instantly
actually
back to full health. And that's
wow.
pretty crazy. And this is actually something to point out. You can see the Summoner cooldown. Teleport is on cooldown for Duke, and he got interrupted on that.
Immediately, everybody goes down bottom for Ruler.
It's not good for Ruler. Faker, Playmaker gets the kill, takes him down 4-0.
And because everybody was middle and they ended up pushing it from SK Telecom's side, they got the inside track through the bottom side of the jungle that's supposed to be Samsung Galaxy's, so they end up on the back side of the turret, and Ruler was basically dead as soon as they all decided to start coming down there.
It's just so well done by SKT, and I pointed out it was only a bit over 1,000 gold. With this turret going down, it's going to be 4,000 plus gold in the lead for SKT, and just like that, they extend this gold lead so much, and that's what this team is kind of famous for doing. You said it, Phreak. It's so hard to come back against SKT because they know when they're stronger and they know how to exploit it.
You can see this right there, punishing the flash being down. They're just layering all of the spells over and over. Makes it a very easy kill, and this chase also pretty nicely played.
Yeah, and right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about, where they throw it all down, but look at, they're all in that bottom side jungle. They're like, might as well make use of the fact that we're here, and Wolf and Bengi just start running straight through, and you look at the mini-map in the bottom right, Ruler, he's up past the halfway point because he wants to shove the minion wave so he isn't losing any gold if he was 2 back right now, and he's not able to outplay 3 people, so.
No. There was really no hope for getting away from that. There's almost nothing he could have possibly done, even though theoretically you can dodge most abilities in the game. There's just no chance he's getting away from that. More roaming plays, attempts to the top lane now. CuVee gonna flash, gonna land the stun into Bengi. Does he have enough damage though? That answer is nope. Duke gets the kill for himself. 5-0 in this one. A nearly complete shutout so far.
And it just feels like Ambition is so behind the play compared to Bengi. Bengi is moving around the map, always in the right place, killing off his opponents, and Ambition just feels like he's misreading where Bengi's gonna be. He's never there to help.
Yeah, and if you look at Bengi's scoreline 1-0-4, he has participated in every kill from SKT, and we will call that kill participation, and it'll usually be represented by a percentage when we're giving statistics in esports and League of Legends. So he has 100% KP. He has been involved in every single move that SKT have made across this map, and it is showing.
Yeah. And SKT is just getting too much too early. You know, 22 minutes into the game, 4 turrets already down, 6,000 gold lead. These guys have ballooned it to a monumental gold lead. They're so far ahead.
This is massive. SKT are huge favorites just by the statistics of how far this game is going.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at early game gold leads, you usually want to look at them as a percentage, but hold on.
Hold on, it's a fight into the mid lane. A quick stun on a Wolf with the snipes coming through, getting blocked out well enough that they're all going to be okay. And just not enough damage coming back through for Samsung. A quick slow comes in. The Aurelion Sol looking to land the stars. They force the flash out of Bengi. Ulti's going to land that Voice of Light, but it's not quite enough. True Shot Barrage also not quite going to kill him, but Bengi slinking away with only about 50 health. That was nearly the first kill of the game for Samsung.
It was very close, and meanwhile in the top lane, Duke actually almost got soloed out by CuVee, and he had to flash away, which really shouldn't be happening. He overstayed top lane, and once again, another dragon is going to go to Samsung, and this is kind of their final hope in the game, is controlling these dragons, because they've been getting them all so far.
Exactly. It's their saving grace right now, and what were you going to say, Phreak?
Oh, no, go for it. You can finish your thought.
No, I was basically just going to say it's their saving grace right now, and Duke overstayed in the top side, so CuVee was able to punish him, and we've seen that even professional players will overstay sometimes, and they won't be able to completely realize in time what the enemy is capable of doing.
Yeah, so to talk about those Drakes a little bit, hold on. It's the catch, and looks like Ruler's fine. Even though these 3 Drakes have been picked up, they have extra regeneration, they run a little bit faster, they've got a little bit more damage thanks to the Drakes that they have picked up for Samsung Galaxy. Those 3 little icons under their name, SSG, in the top left corner. Those do not make up for the gold and experience that SKT. Exactly, not even close. If this game becomes tied gold-wise, yes, there's a moderately substantial advantage for Samsung Galaxy, but they have to get this game within 1,000 for that to really matter here.
They certainly do, and it's also one of those things where they have to delay. If we look back to game 1 and you remember how behind Samsung was, but they stuck around for what felt like forever, right? That's what they have to try to do again here, and then those dragons can give them an advantage.
Going to land the knockup, but not a knockback. It barely means anything, and Bang is there to land the final shot. CuVee goes down. SKT 6-0 in kills, looking to clean it up.
That was a bit of a panic move there. He wanted to hold down that ultimate and spin it in his hand a little bit longer for CuVee to knock Duke away, but he ended up snap casting it, so it's only a knockup, and then he ends up getting picked off there. There wasn't much pressure on him either because the cone, the Trundle pillar, was the only thing that could interrupt it, and it was already used, so a little bit of panic there.
Yeah, he could have held it for much longer. Now the attempt, nicely played. They just layer all the crowd control. Can't dodge those, and Faker gets himself a kill. Looking for a little bit more, but they won't quite find CoreJJ. Crown gonna clear some minions out, but they're still bleeding champions at this point. SKT continue to control the mid lane.
These guys are just relentless, and they're pushing down mid. They've already killed off 2. They've chunked out CoreJJ. It's gonna be another free turret.
And in the history of the World Championship, there has only been one 3-0 victory. The losing team has always found a way to win one game, or the winning team has always slipped up at least once in that matchup. The only other 3-0 was here at Staples in 2013 as SK Telecom T1 3-0'd their finals opponent. They just smashed the entire tournament. They're looking to do that again.
And that was against Royal, if I do remember correctly. It was against Starhorn Royal Club.
The #1 team in China at the time.
Back then, Royal Club.
Yep, and now another fight in the top side jungle. Bit of a knockback. Duke's got to run back. He's running out of health. A quick kick out, but it's not enough damage just yet. Samsung Galaxy looking for some way to get damage across here. Another tackle in for CuVee, and they finally get one kill. Ruler gets the credit. The re-engage in for Bengi, but that might be his death knell. It's very low health on that Elise. And no, SKT able to walk away, but now the re-engage. What a nice deadly flourish lands for Bang, and then Faker able to get the re-engage and gets the kill 1-for-1.
And they take down another one as Faker arrives. He still had all his abilities available. He was full health, full mana, able to turn around that damage, and a little bit of a mistake there from Duke. He kind of gets a bit too over-aggressive here at the start. He's kind of caught out. He's going to get stunned up against the wall here, just chasing into that Poppy. A bit of a mistake, and he couldn't participate too much, and that's why this was a tough fight for SKT despite their gold lead.
Yeah, they couldn't really get to those carries either. Faker comes in a little bit later, and Bang ran off to the right-hand side and loops around, so he's completely safe during this, but he was originally the one who got kicked first. So you still have those damage dealers completely healthy on SKT's side.
And that
and
kick,
was
of course,
able to re-engage.
That kick, of course, the Elise in ultimate, Dragon's Rage. You can kick someone up, and they get knocked back up into the air. They take damage. They deal damage to anyone that kind of gets hit by that as well. Any champions you happen to fly through, so it's kind of like getting kicked into your buddy. You knock him over too. Yep. It's not bad enough that you're on the ground.
Got to make everyone else's life even more miserable. So we look back at this game. SK Telecom T1 looking to close this one out in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Right now they're playing for top side control, getting the wards down. The little catch right there doesn't mean really enough onto Bengi. He'll be fine on this one and walk away with it.
And that's one of the nice things about having Nami. It's a champion we haven't talked about much, but this champion has a heal in her kit. The heal, you can use it on an ally. If there's an enemy in range, it'll bounce to them and deal damage. And even if there's another ally in range, bounce back and heal them too. So there's some skill in how you use this, and it's also nice to heal up that poke or that damage that you do take in these little skirmishes.
Exactly, and during the early game, it's about winning all of the trades because you heal and do damage simultaneously, and that's one of the main reasons that she's picked early on. Later in the game, it's for that tidal wave that she has, the ultimate where she sends out this gigantic wave, and that is considered what we call an engage tool or a hard engage tool because it has a CC on it.
Yeah, certainly, and it also has that kind of duality because it can be used for disengage. They try to fight into you, you throw out this giant tidal wave, knocks them all up, and now they can't fight anymore. You can just simply walk away. So Nami has those strengths and works both ways.
He's going to be lit on fire, jumps to the side, trying to run, burns his flash as well, deadly flourish! One more shot will do it, and Bang gets the assassination easily with that one. And now to find a little bit more, Curtain Call is in and doesn't quite find purchase, but hey, the kill's good enough. 9-1 SKT.
And SKT pinging on to Baron there. They want to move over. They know they have a kill. They're pretty healthy, and they have Nami to heal back up the rest of their members. So they're going to see if they can pressure over here.
It's pretty likely CuVee's going to look for a bit more trading into Duke. Picks up his shield, gets a little bit more durable thanks to that, and now has to run away because suddenly Bang is here to make it even easier. So much more damage going through the flash.
Nice
the re-engage. Oh, that was beautiful by CuVee. Gets the assassination. elimination, and now it's Duke who's forced to run away. That was an exceptional play out of CuVee.
That was so big. It stops SKT from being able to go from the Baron, for being able to take more, and they needed to get something like that done.
And it may even stop them from getting this next Drake, which is an Infernal, which would make it 4 Drakes for Samsung, that if the game does get stalled out even more, Samsung are in a great position.
Yeah, that would be huge, Zirene, but Crown is caught.
This is a bad position. All the crowd control is there. The voice of light to knock him back, and actually, Crown is back to being safe. Turned a pretty catastrophic situation into at least a neutral one.
It's the power of those summoners, right? He blows those summoner spells, he gets away, but it does come at a cost, and they're going for the dragon. They need to secure this. This has been their one kind of saving grace in this game, and it looks like they will.
Okay, double Infernal Drake. That's probably their best way back into this one. It gives them more attack damage, more ability power. Those are the core offensive stats of League of Legends. A 16% increase on those stats. It doesn't mean a lot for everyone. Poppy doesn't care so much, but Aurelion Sol does, Ezreal does, Lee Sin does.
Oh no,
a lot of those
SKT's
guys
on
care.
Baron.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
SKT doing the Baron right now.
They do get spotted by the Ezreal ultimate. It revealed them.
But
They
can they
can't
get there in
give
time?
this up. Ambition needs to try to steal
Bang.
this or do
Can
something.
he steal? He jumps away. Oh, Bang is low on HP. They're going to get the kill into Wolf. This could be the comeback here for
They
Samsung
could get Baron
Galaxy.
after this.
They could get a ton. It's already 2 kills. They've got a third. This is huge for Samsung Galaxy, picking up all of SK Telecom T1, or at least all the ones that matter.
Absolutely massive. They catch out Bang, they force him back, and now they're on the Baron. If they can secure this, this could be a complete turnaround for Samsung and potentially their way back into the series.
Absolutely huge for them. They'll be able to start pushing, and with all of those Drakes behind them that they had, that insurance policy is going to start paying off as they get more advantages.
Yeah, we talked about getting to late game. This has helped them do that. They're now pretty close in gold. They have 4 dragons and the Baron buff. Gold, be right back in it, Phreak.
And you can see the beginning of this play. It's just the jump in, the aggression by Ruler, the rookie, forces Bang out, but they still get the damage on a Wolf and just continue the rest of this. It's so well played.
So well played by them. And SKT, some indecision there. They were still half on the Baron, half running away, half fighting, and that's not something you normally see from SKT. And now Samsung is going to be able to pick up some of this global gold, take down the mid lane turret, go top, take out that turret, and the gold gap is closing.
Exactly, and this has to be a big sigh of relief for Samsung, because when you're playing on the back foot for half an hour, you are already down 2-0, 1 game away from losing the World Finals, and now you finally get something back here. So this has to do wonders for also their mental game.
Yeah, and the mental game is massive at this point. Too many things go wrong in a row, you lose hope, and Samsung needs to have that hope. They need to keep fighting, and we'll see if they can get more kills here.
They nearly pick off Bengi. He's low on health, below 1,000, and that's SKT forced to run away, but there's still control of the top lane. Yeah, okay, mid lane went that way, but look up at the top side because the minion wave got pushed in. Crown never left, and that's 2 turrets picked up back-to-back in the top lane, and now this gold is much, much closer. The lead that SKT had was halved.
Yeah, and when you look at how much, when I was talking about early game gold leads, you want to look at them as a percentage for almost all of the game, and right up until that Baron, SKT had 120% of the gold that Samsung had, and now it's only 110. They were able to take off a gigantic chunk of that and make it so it's almost even if they make 1 or 2 more plays.
Certainly, and for SKT, they just need to slow it down a little bit. Bang got soloed out by CuVee, trying to kill off in that 2v1. He was low health, no mana, didn't respect his opponent. Then gets caught out, bad position and kind of pathing to the Baron, and he's costing his team here, so he needs to smarten up and play a little bit more safe, a little bit more calculated.
And these next few minutes are very important for Samsung and also SKT, because SKT have been playing from ahead the entire game, and now they have to be able to rejudge where Samsung Galaxy's stats are.
This is the first risky turret push here. It's kind of gritting their teeth, bearing it, and saying, yes, we can knock this turret down, and they do so. SKT had the option of trying to fight there. They said, no, we'll give you this one away too. We'll wait for the Baron the timeout and fight you another day, but that is more gold going to Samsung Galaxy.
Certainly, as Trundle is going to be pushing in the top lane, though, and some will have to get back there and respond. So it's going to be CuVee. The rest of Samsung want to keep pushing here, but Duke could then come back, try to TP in, and look for a flank.
Exactly, he has the TP advantage here, so he's kind of baiting CuVee back, so CuVee is going to chase him until that turret is down and his team is safe.
Okay, this is going to be tight. Again, CuVee kind of needs to track Duke around and make sure he can't get the teleport off. Duke is simply going to recall, it looks like, and it's going to be a backline access.
Oh,
he got
Faker!
That was beautiful! Faker goes down! Now how's it going to be? It's a 1-for-1 so far. The flash, the disengage, SKT running away, but that still means the turret. That play is still amazing, and it's more gold in the pockets of Samsung.
You talked about the late game for Ambition. He makes the call. They go in. It was a beautiful ultimate from Crown. Does all the damage to those guys, slows them up, and then Ambition kicks in Faker. They kill him off, and they're pushing for the inhibitor. Phreak.
Another turret. That's got to be at least 5 in a row now. Looking to close it right back in. A 4-on-4 team fight, but Faker is not alive, which is incredibly important as SKT are missing their most important member, I believe. And the now bot lane inhibitor is under fire. Samsung
Crown,
Galaxy know they're going to respawn soon enough. Bengi getting a little bit low, going to jump back to the side. CuVee in the front line, also forced to retreat, but he's running out of health rapidly. Duke is nearly invincible.
Ruler's in the back line.
Yeah, Ruler looking for a bit more. The battle with Bengi, but he gets re-attacked. The exhaust is on, and the shutdown comes through. A bit off more than he can chew, and SKT find a kill at the end.
And that's all. They only get the GA though from Duke. So they almost got nothing back from that too, but it's still only a 2,000 gold difference between these two teams when it was 9,000 previously. They're starting to come back in this.
And it's 2,000 gold apart with 4 Drake buffs. To my sort of estimation, this is tied, or yeah, maybe Samsung's ahead.
I think even at this point, and here's the replay. Look at this, flash in, no hesitation from Ambition. He kicks in Faker, they kill him off, and that's what prompts everything. Sure, he gives away his life, but that is well worth it because Faker is the main carry at this point in the game. He's very strong, and taking him out meant his team could kind of push, but Ruler, as they got in here, he wanted it all, and he dove in the back line, and if he had pulled that off, it could have been the game, but instead didn't work out.
One of the big reasons they were able to get that Baron off of that previous play is that Ruler finally had the conversion of the Manamune into Muramana. He hit a power spike, which is where he goes up drastically because he has completed a few items, and then he's able to pick off multiple people and deal enough damage at that Baron.
And so those items were what Zirene was talking about at the start of the game. Kind of the investment in those later stages. You have that weak item at the start. The tier has been fully completed, has been fully charged, and now he's at a powerful state for his character.
And speaking of powerful states, what you just saw on your screen, the Elder Dragon becomes what's possibly the most important objective now on the map. The value of that Elder Dragon goes up with every dragon that you have killed yourself. So it means nothing for SKT, but it means potentially the game for Samsung Galaxy. They will be massive if they can kill it.
And that is why it's so good to control the earlier dragons in the game, because SKT now, even though they don't get much from killing it, they cannot let their opponents kill it, and they almost want to have to try to take it off the map so Samsung can't get it. And it puts them in this difficult situation where they have to fight for something that doesn't really even help them.
Exactly, and I feel like the game is going to kind of stall out for a minute here until the Baron is back up, and then you have the pull between the Elder Drake and the Baron on opposite sides of the map.
But look at Duke. Duke is forcing their hand. He is once again pushing in that side lane on Trundle, and he's almost at the base, and no one has actually got back to match him. They're probably going to lose a turret here if they don't go really quick.
Well, he's not actually dealing too much damage to the turret.
He's going to get
hit in the wave.
He thinks he's going to get flanked, but no one's there. Yeah, he spent all the time killing minions. He could have gotten half that turret's life, but thought that Samsung Galaxy would have reacted better. So he assumed a better play and got worse because of it.
Yep, and that's giving the respect to your opponents, and sometimes you can give too much respect to your opponents. Sometimes you have to take those risks, but Duke playing it safe here didn't want to give up any kills, and as a result gets less out of it, but he is still massively ahead of CuVee, his lane opponent, will always be winning those 1v1s.
There is one important item that came through here for Ruler on Samsung Galaxy. He completed an item called the Mortal Reminder, which cuts an enemy champion's healing by half. And we've talked about this before, a lot of Trundle's durability comes from healing by siphoning stats off his opponent. If that healing comes down significantly, which it will if Ruler's fighting him, he's a much easier tank to kill.
It's also going to affect the Nami. We talked about her healing people back up, so she's going to be doing a lot less. But you can see Faker on screen has already started the Elder, and Samsung needs to fight this, and
they're not going to be able to.
They're not in position. This is a big mess up from Samsung.
And this really means it's more of a denial. SKT gets something. They get a little bit. Their burn is there, but it's more of a nice warm fire than a real blaze.
And now they can start playing around the Baron without the fear of the Elder Drake or Elder Dragon going over to Samsung. That's the big thing for them, is it frees up their movement across the map, and they can just focus on this side.
And I think that was a read. Seeing Crown go to pick up his blue buff, they were able to go right onto the Elder, and that was very well done by SKT and Samsung. Pretty big lapse in judgment. You spent all this time, the whole game, getting these dragons. That's your advantage. This is your win position. Kind of getting that Elder and killing off SKT, and and they gave it away. So now they're going to have to look for advantages elsewhere or wait again for it to spawn, which is going to be a long time.
10 minutes?
10 minutes for Elder Dragon. Regular Drake spawn at 6 minutes. Once it becomes the Elder Dragon, it's 10 minutes. And it will only be Elder Dragons from this point on. After 35 minutes, it's only Elder Dragons. 10 minutes between them. The buff only lasts 2, so it's off the map much more than it's on. This is actually going to time out of SKT only about a minute from right now, so it looks like they're not going to get much. Again, it's more of a denial. For the next 9 minutes, they don't have to worry about this, and it's only the Baron that matters. It is alive. The team that gets it probably wins the game when they do.
Or at least has a very good chance to do so.
Right.
And especially
That's
if there's a fight around it, you know, it's one of those things where if you can take out the team and get the Baron, you almost certainly win. If it's one or the other, it may be more clear.
Especially when there are no outer turrets remaining for either team. It's just inhibitor turrets and then the works from there. So you're going to be able to push the base quite quickly if you can just get a win in a fight, get a Baron. That's probably it.
You're seeing the two tanks fight each other. They've got a lot of lifesteal from the Trundle, just the durability out of the Poppy. And it looks like the Baron dance is starting.
Yeah, and you were talking about this durability from the Poppy. He's almost down 100 minion score at the bottom of your screen, CS. So you would think, oh man, he's going to get crushed. The nature of the champion in Poppy, even if you're behind, you're still doing your job.
One item slot still to complete for the Poppy, an upgrade still to go for the Trundle. They're approaching their full builds right now. The junglers in a similar boat as well. Just an upgrade left for Bengi. Roughly a full item still waiting around. There's a kickback. They're going to find Wolf. That's the flash forced out. It is still an advantageous trade of cooldowns, as SKT support will be missing flash for the next 3 minutes.
And we'll see if they can convert on that, or if anything else is going to happen. Ambition getting chunked out there. We'll have to back off.
Next 4 minutes to correct myself, but yeah, it is still a window that could be used. You can see they've actually kind of started ignoring themselves. They're fighting for the minions, and some of that is simply the Drakes they've picked up.
This is scary again for Samsung, though, because they've seeded vision control around the Baron, meaning they're having to guess, is SK doing it? Are they killing the Baron? Are they doing this? And they have to keep trying to check and use those blue trinkets that you can see. They're both on cooldown.
SKT looking for a little bit more right here. Gets one shot on a Ruler. That's the third, actually. Finally, one does get dodged away, but look how low Ruler is now. It makes him very easy to kill. One chain of spells picks off the marksman of Samsung Galaxy, and he is one of their core damage dealers. There are substitutes here. There's some backup from his teammates, but it's an important target nonetheless.
But he does have some lifesteal with the Blade of the Ruined King. I would say it's the purple sword in his inventory.
But there's two.
But there's two. It's got the one that's not a bow, one all the way on the right.
That makes it a
so
sword.
We'll see right here. He's almost fully
starting it. This could be the game
This
in
is
this
the
fight.
fight to watch for. CuVee in the front line gets a knockup, but what can they really find? Crown knocked back, and look at how low CuVee is. But Baron Nashor hitting up Wolf. They're going to find the damage, and yes, that's one kill picked up. Samsung Galaxy get one kill. Now they got to run away.
They're so low. They have to be very careful here. They did get that kill, and CuVee was the reason they won that fight. He knocked 2 members from SKT out with the ultimate that the Keeper's Verdict hits them out of the fight and allows them to have this brief 5v3 where they can kill off Wolf, who didn't have flash from earlier.
And as soon as that happened, Faker had landed a shockwave onto 2 key members, but then Ruler comes over the wall and zones Faker out. So the AD carry, usually you don't put yourself at risk, and you can see right here, shockwave would have been a follow-up. Faker has to flash away because of that. So the AD carry right there, Ruler knew that he had to be aggressive, which is very bold, but it was at the right time.
Certainly did. And it's those
Samsung
little
Galaxy.
things that Samsung, they're starting it up.
Looking
this is
for the
risky.
Baron. SKT's got to stop. This is going to be probably the fight that might determine the game. It's going to be Duke in the front line. Baron at 1/3. They're going to peel off and go for the fight. Instead, the kickback is going to find Faker, but he's okay for now. How much more damage can come out? It's Samsung Galaxy Crown who picks off Faker. Looking for more. Duke's Guardian Angel is popped. This could quickly be a 5v3. Can they get the damage? Tidal Wave comes out from Wolf's Nami, and it makes the disengage happen. Samsung Galaxy so low on health, they cannot do Baron despite the kill.
2 straight times, they get the kill, they know their limits. Had they chased into that, I think they die to bang. And Wolf,
Stun? No, he's fine, he's a tank, sorry. It's
Yeah.
CuVee, he's okay.
Go ahead.
still, I mean, they get the GA, they get a kill, and they get some summoners. So very well played here from Samsung, and it's Ambition again, making the big play in the late game, kicking in Faker. That has been the catalyst for these teamfight wins.
Looking for more. Ooh, Wolf nearly gets tagged. Of course, Ambition is on a ward. He doesn't know that Wolf knows.
Yeah.
He's actually unaware of that fact and just standing on vision right there.
The blind monk.
And oh, they're going for a little bit more. They don't, I don't know if they know completely that SKT are aware to this play. Baron Nash being started up again. 5v4. Faker is not part of this fight. It should be a Samsung Galaxy fight win. They're staying on Baron. Duke in the front line. This is the tight fight. Let's see what they can get. The knockup is there. They get a little bit more onto Bengi. Now it's towards Duke, knocking him back into the team. True Shot Barrage comes across. The Voice of Light. He refuses to go down. 2 more attacks from 2 of them. They don't quite have it. So back on Baron they go, but it's back to full health. They took long enough not hitting it that it's already too healthy.
And Faker is back. He's back alive. They had to respect the fact that he'd be coming into this fight with his Shockwave available, back to full health and mana, and SKT staved them off just barely.
And in these high-pressure situations, we heard it earlier, Jimmy was talking about it, where you pretty much just say Caitlyn, 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 and you go after one thing. Right there, it looked like they were split between Baron, and then the fact that SKT was on them, they weren't going to do the Baron fast enough until they had to actually turn and fight SKT.
And I mean, there was some split targeting there that you talked about. Duke lived with almost no HP. 1 or 2 more attacks on Duke, the top laner. His Guardian Angel was on cooldown, so he would not be brought back to life. He would be dead for a very long time, and it's massive that he survived.
Definitely crucial right here, but the game is still deathly close. It's only a few thousand gold separating the teams, and at this point, yes, those Drake buffs for Samsung Galaxy make it roughly equal. We've seen how close these teams are fighting. It is really anyone's game, and as we're 45 minutes in, a clean 5-0 is the game.
It certainly is, and it's always this thing where when you're playing against Faker, the longer the game goes, the more chance there is for him to make this big play. And Faker has fully completed his item build now. He's on 6 items. He's exceptionally powerful. And if this guy hits the right combo, he will solo win a team fight. And it's going to be so scary for Samsung, knowing you're playing against the best player in the world, knowing he has this super powerful late game character that he can turn the tides of battle with one button.
The Orianna Shockwave specifically is the button we're talking about here, and you got to watch for that one. Tidal Wave comes to cut off the retreat, and a lot of shots to CoreJJ. He will stay alive. Bubble lands, and it's a bit of damage on a crown. Bengi's going to retreat. Here comes CuVee in the back line. Brings in one. Shockwave hits the tanks. That's not a catastrophe. Samsung Galaxy are okay for now, but Crown running a bit out of health. The disengage comes through, and it's back on to CuVee. He's running out of health. Couple more shots will do it. Gets the summoner heal and stays alive. Now the chase in. Ruler wants it. The rookie looking to get a big play for himself, and still gets a big chunk out of the opposing team.
And Samsung could theoretically go back to Baron. It looks like they may try to do that. They're baiting it, at least seeing if Samsung can make SKT check in and take someone out. But what a close fight. Both teams risking life and limb to keep their teammates alive and barely being able to do so.
It's super tight right now, and I feel bad that I've said 4 times in a row this could be the game-winning fight, but each of them could have been if it went a little bit closer to one side. These teams so good at knowing their limits to not give away more.
Everybody's absolutely playing on point as well. Like CoreJJ able to save CuVee there with his ultimate right before the GA came back up. So really, there's a lot going on here that is just kind of working in a microcosm to allow this to happen.
And even Ambitious diving in with the safeguard, giving CuVee that extra shielding, risking his life to keep him alive.
And now it's Baron being started again. Duke is splitting in the bottom lane. He'll have to teleport to join. And yeah, being grouped up against an Orianna, that red ball in the middle of your screen, that can immediately cause the deaths of all 5 members of Samsung Galaxy if the Shockwave lands. They respect Faker, and they back out.
This is a bad position for Samsung Galaxy because they weren't able to do the Baron. Duke has TP. CuVee does not. CuVee used it previously in that last fight, so he has the TP advantage on Duke's side, and now he gets to do stuff like this and push this wave out.
And Whittle's bottom lane inhibitor turret down to about 2/3, and yes, they regenerate, but only very slowly. That damage is going to stick for a while.
This is actually really difficult for CuVee. He has to track Duke, because if Duke TP's over there, they could even theoretically just go straight for the Baron. CuVee would have to run all the way across the map to get back.
Remember when we were talking about Elder Dragon in 10 minutes? It's almost back up.
20 seconds to go.
Now there's going to be 2 points that people have to gravitate towards, and you can't really give up the other one.
Oh, speaking of giving up on this one, Ruler thankfully gets away from a little bit of it. Guardian Angel is up, a nice knockback. A lot of damage and a bang. True Shot Barrage is in. And there's Elise in as well. And now the snipe, the curtain call, looking for a little bit more. Dodging on 3 and all 4 of the shots. Nicely played by Samsung, juicing out of that one.
These two teams are just playing so ridiculously well. No one is overstaying these fights. They're knowing exactly when to back off and how to survive. And this is not standard League of Legends. Normally, at this stage in the game, one of these fights breaks out, one team dies. The game ends. And these guys are just playing it so well. No one is giving up those kills.
And one mistake will cost your team the entire game, possibly the World Championship.
Possibly the World Championship. SKT triple match point. Samsung Galaxy must win this one. Their backs are against the wall. Ooh, nice dodge with Coot. Ambition gets away from that one. Once again, CoreJJ forced to recall and heal up. And as you mentioned, that both the Elder Dragon and Baron Nashor are alive. Samsung Galaxy is honestly probably happy with either one. SKT only get real value out of killing Baron. It kind of gives an advantage to Samsung Galaxy, where I think they're actually okay trading in some circumstances, and it works out all right for them.
They could trade, but the problem becomes if you give up the Baron for the Elder, then SKT will try to delay the game and let your shorter buff expire, because the Baron buff lasts about 5 minutes, I believe. 3.5 versus 2, okay.
Yeah.
3.5 versus 2 there for the Elder Dragon. So you can kind of wait, allow it to expire, and then continue your push.
Yeah. And that's the difficulty. Also, there's an intrinsic value to killing Baron Nashor. It's worth 1,500 gold across your team, whereas the Drake is worth 25 total. 25 gold.
There aren't a whole lot of items left to be completed, though. I believe it's only supports and then Bengi. Everybody else has full item slots.
One thing I would like to point out is we talk a lot about supports and then the power of mid lane carries and marksmen and so on. Because of the champion that CoreJJ is playing, he actually builds a lot of AP, a lot of damage. At this late stage of the game, as he completes his items, he becomes almost as powerful as the mid laners.
He is more, yeah, he's going to be very, very valuable. We've got a fight going for the Elder Dragon, and the dude does go over to SK Telecom. Now the team fight, it's the disengage for CoreJJ, knocking up a couple right here. The frontliners staying healthy, but Crown is nearly out of health right here, and they find a little bit more ambitions, got to run. They nearly take down CuVee as well, and Samsung running for dear life, running out of health as well, as SKT are on the chase, on the warpath, looking for a game-winning team fight to close out the series and win a championship.
And SKT now, they have this 2-minute window where they're super powerful. They're going to go straight to Baron and try to force Samsung to fight them there, and I don't know if Samsung is going to have
They're not helping enough.
to do it.
They're going to have everybody.
They're TPing in. They're going to try anyway, and I think this could be the decision that cost them the game.
This is the decision. Here we go. The push on into its war. Forcing to flash
CuVee
out.
can get an
Now
ulti.
Bang on the side. They're going to find CuVee getting a little bit done, but SKT still secures the Baron. Now what about the after fight? SKT are a little bit low. Maybe Samsung finds their way in despite the buff to get the damage. CuVee in the back line. He finds Faker, and they got him down. It's a 5v4, but the trade kill some comes through as Crown has lost his life. Bengi low on HP, and it's the Ruler around the side looking for a little bit more to do. A knockback in. Can they find the damage? Samsung Galaxy must get these kills in, or they're going to lose this one. Finding a little bit more damage to deal, and it's Ruler in the back line, finding one, looking now for Duke, and he forced the Guardian Angel. Exactly. He will die for this. This will be Duke dying, losing his life, and there's only 2 left alive for SKT.
Duke used his Summoner Flash. He did not be close enough to the wall to try to flash over it, so he actually flashed into the wall, costing him his life and the Guardian Angel. This is massive for Samsung.
It's a 4 versus 2 for almost a minute now. The question is, how much can they get with twice the size? Also, crucially, the 2 surviving members of SKT are their 2 least impactful ones, the poorest ones, with the least gold, the least to do about this.
I think they could try to push for the end here if they want to be really risky, but Faker is going to be up in 15, and they don't have minion waves, so they're just going to try to take at least a couple inhibitors and play it safe.
Exactly. They want these 2, and they want to get out before Faker respawns, because Duke also has teleport. You have to respect that. He can TP behind them if you wait those 30 seconds.
And it's trying to buy time. SKT knows they can re-engage with the team and maybe find that teleport flank. Samsung Galaxy make good on the earlier bottom inhibitor turret kill. 2 inhibs down, a team fight win.
And we've got to watch this one again, because Ruler just put the team on his back in this team fight. And he was playing so incredibly well, staying back and then biding his time and then finding the perfect moments to go in and do damage, even doing damage over the wall to Faker and to Bengi, taking them out. Then he wraps back around. He's able to re-engage in this fight and dive into the backline, taking people out.
And Ruler has just been so instrumental in the comeback here from Samsung Galaxy. He had the power spikes at the previous Baron and was able to stop them.
Great in the backline.
And he actually sold his Iceborne Gauntlet and traded it for Trinity Force, so he had even more damage and traded out an item that was more utility for a higher damaged one.
Which is the right choice, but now we've got another fight north the middle side. They look for Ruler, but they're not going to get him. He gets away with it entirely. Nicely played by him, but is there going to be a flank play? CuVee is around, looking for a bit to do against SK Telecom.
This is still good for Samsung, though, because they're putting SKT on the bottom side of the map. The only place that Samsung has to go is the top side, because that's where the inhibitor, the only one left on the enemy team, is.
But at the same time, SKT are faster on the play. They had pressure on mid and say, oh, no, we can't. We've got the recall because the base is under fire. Samsung Galaxy grouped up in the top side. Minions will push the middle and bottom lane.
And Duke is not there, so Duke is going to have to TP back pretty quickly if they want to try to fight here. We'll see if he decides to stay in that lane, if they keep going with this siege or not.
Looks like they've got to back out. SKT still pretty powerful. Technically, they have the gold lead. Either way, the 5-on-5s are almost equal as far as power goes. And the real difference now is, in fact, those Drake buffs. Now, Samsung Galaxy, they run between these lanes faster. After a skirmish, they heal up faster. In a straight combat, they actually just do more damage now at this point. Those margins are small. It still more often than not comes down to execution. But if both teams play perfectly, there are more advantages on the Samsung Galaxy lineup now.
There certainly are, and you can see as Zyra was even picked up there by Duke, trying to shove in the bot lane, and Samsung needs to either respond or make something happen. We'll see if they try to go for it.
Look for the curtain call again. CuVee says, everyone, stand behind me. I'll tank all the shots. And you can see very little damage is actually dealt by that ability. Bang popping his ultimate. Auto attacks for him using his general basic attacks that the champion comes with are, at this stage of the game, more important than his ultimate during a real team fight when you're actually brawling and trying to deal damage back and forth. But at the beginning, things like this, just laying the long-range shots, because why not?
And actually a key little thing there for Bang, he was actually able to interrupt the recall from CuVee, delaying him further, so giving more time for Duke to push in those minions to have that damage going down on the turret. And Duke is looking for a collapse here, trying to come back up to the team.
Brown has to flash away, looking for Faker now. He's low. He's got to pop the Zonias. Here comes the fight. This is going to be close. Faker kicked away, and he's going to go down to CoreJJ. SKT lose their mid laner, and now Duke in the front line, but he is in the middle of all of Samsung, getting slowed down, getting whittled down. Samsung Galaxy 2-0. They can win the game.
Just an incredible catch there. Faker tried to go for the big play, but Crown, equal to the task, flashes away. His team collapses first. They take out Faker. They take out Duke. They want the game.
Absolutely incredible response there from Crown. The reaction and the follow-up from CoreJJ to cut off Faker's options with his ultimate and the chase down afterwards. They get the mid laner. He is the wave clear. It's hard to stop these minions from coming in.
If you play it right, SKT can maybe make it happen. Yeah, Bengi making a beautiful play. He cut off the minion line. Despite how powerful these champions are. Oh no, he screwed it up. He didn't kill them all. They're low enough, they probably get assassinated anyway. They get picked up by something, but realistically, no matter how strong these champions are, they can't push turrets without the help of minions. It actually means a lot to have minions with you to absorb the shots and make the turrets die faster. They will get top lane inhibitor, but the respawns are coming up very soon for SKT.
Exactly, they were just trying to stall, buy time for Faker. This will be 3 inhibitors though, and when 3 are down, you don't just spawn super minions in that wave. It is 2 super minions every wave in every lane.
But the caveat is that Baron's going to respawn around the same time that the inhibitors do. Baron is 5 minutes apart. Inhibitors are, Baron is 7 minutes, inhibitors are 5 minutes. And it took them about 2 minutes-ish to go from stopping the Baron fight to killing the inhibitors off. Those are going to respawn at similar times. And Vision actually caught out by the stun into the bubble, but he's going to be okay. Lands the kick, gets away with it. He should be just fine. But there is a very small window with those inhibitors being down, and it will not overlap much with the Baron respawning. Actually, back, the mid inhibitor's already back.
Yep, there it is.
So they're going to be back up before the Baron even is.
So I think you get 1 double super minion wave out of that, if that.
And so much of that came down to the fact that Bengi went behind them, killed off those minions, and just go expand on that point a little bit. When you don't have minions with you, the structures take far reduced damage. You're dealing massively less to them, so you can't actually just walk up and kill off those turrets and end the game. If Bengi had not killed off those minions, they would have walked down mid lane, killed off the Nexus turrets, and taken the Nexus. So it was a huge play from Bengi to have the presence of mind to do it.
Exactly, we call it the backdoor bonus. It's 66% damage reduction. The minions take it away, even if they hit it for like 6 damage themselves, doesn't matter. They let your champions deal more. And right now, it's all coming down to this Baron and that super minion wave in the top that SKT have to deal with.
And Samsung were able to play the vision game first. They're the ones who control the vision around this area to make it dark for SKT. But a couple wards have gone through. There's one of the trinket wards put down by Duke that can spot inside the Baron pit. So no longer can Samsung sneak away with it. But they're looking for a play elsewhere. The Crown's got to dodge away. There's too many threats to walk into with his face.
And you can see Crown selling some items as well, gets rid of the Leandries, goes for the death cap, so he has even more AP because it multiplies your AP, and he's looking just for a big fight.
So fast.
Here's the next one, the attempt, and they're sticking onto the Baron. Can they burn it down in time? And it's gonna get spited away, and yes, Samsung gets it. Now the 5-on-5, Samsung buffed up, Ambition the front line flashes back out. He's very, very low, but the knockup lands onto 4. The knock back as well by Poppy, but Shockwave! Faker catches 3, and he kills 1. Duke taking the front line. The Briller comes out looking for a little bit more, and he might just find it. The chase in, but a nice collapse. CuVee stuns him against the wall. The knockup though, CuVee gonna lose Guardian Angel, and Crown gonna lose his life as well. Duke finds it. That's 2 kills already, and Ruler is about to lose his kingdom. SKT is here to knock him down.
Or is he really playing amazingly? They're looking to try to chase him down.
CuVee gonna look for Bang, gonna get some damage.
He's keeping the damage dealers busy.
Here to join, looking for a little bit more. They're finding it. They're looking for Bang, and Bang loses his life. But it's a trade kill. Ruler goes down as well. But it's still a 2 versus 3, a kickback. It's CuVee looking for a little bit more, but he's gonna lose the Guardian Angel. Only 2 members alive. It's 2 versus 4 right now, and it's soon gonna be 1 versus 4. SKT will take him down. Another shockwave for Faker, and there's only 1 left alive for Samsung.
And that is a 70-second death timer for CuVee, and SKT played that fight so well, and this is why you can see they are one of the best teams, if not the best, in the entire world. They start this fight off with the ultimate from Bang, and then the tidal wave comes through. They are saving Shockwave, and even Duke, he's taking damage, but he hasn't used his ultimate yet. He hasn't used the Trundle ultimate. He waits. GA goes down. As soon as he comes back up, that's what they use to bait, the Shockwave, and then the ultimate comes out, so Duke goes back to full HP.
And if it weren't for that incredible Shockwave from Faker taking out CoreJJ, I think that would have been Samsung's fight very clearly, because CuVee had such a good Poppy ultimate, knocking them out and stopping that. And now the Elder Dragon is live, so we can go back to live and see what's going to happen with that fight.
Well, it's going to be a bubble looking for Ambition, but either way, it's SKT in control of this side of the map. 2 members of Samsung Galaxy are still dead, so a steal is going to be difficult. CoreJJ around the side, Crown as well. Looking for this one, it is a 3 versus 4. One of SKT was dead as well. Bang just now respawned.
You just need to stall because CuVee has 10 seconds on himself, and he has TP, so he'll get there immediately. And what was that? That was the smite for Bengi.
That was a smite looking to kill off the Scuttle Crab for Vision. Ends up being Faker to knock down the Scuttle and get the Vision there themselves. CuVee now alive, his teleport is available, and that is a good defense by Samsung Galaxy to not give that objective over to SKT.
Yeah, and then SKT, though, they're sticking around. They're starting this up again. They're trying to force the issue because they see that Ruler is in the mid lane. So Ezreal has to run over here very quickly now. And as he does do so.
Ambition had gone back to base also. He's going to book it back over here, and once again, the disengage will happen. You have Duke right now who is stuck inside SKT's base. He is defending the dead top lane inhibitor. That will come back soon. And then he still has teleport to join if he needs to as well.
You can see how much gold some of these guys have. Duke actually sold his Guardian Angel because the passive was already used, bought up a more powerful item, and now Samsung start up the Dragon. If they get this, it's going to be massive. They have so many dragons, they'll be so powerful.
CuVee has backline access.
Though. This is going to be threatening. Ambition a bit low on health. They're going to jump back and maybe look for a little bit more. Where does CuVee come in from? What can he find?
He tried to use his ultimate to get the backline out of there, but he missed it.
Well, that is a pretty important cooldown then missing. And of course, Samsung can simply trade SKT's base for the Elder Dragon. However, SKT already pressing in mid lane first. Samsung might be slow on the play.
And this is very risky because they're getting collapsed on. SKT is coming in from all sides. CuVee needs to join the team now before they get taken out.
He has Summoner Teleport, but he's still on the wrong side of this one. How can the re-engage look? They look for Bang. Can they get him? They cannot. Ambition is going to lose the Guardian Angel. How good's the front line? A quick knock up in for Zyra, but it's still bad news bears, and Ambition goes down. SKT getting a kill. 5 versus 4 now for over a minute. Ruler looking for some, but he gets Shockwave, and he loses his life. Faker with the double kill, and this is going to be a catastrophe. It's 3 versus 5. Crown could not possibly carry hard enough, but actually 2 more kills have come back to Samsung Galaxy. Just out of nowhere, 2 dead on SKT's side, makes it a 3v3.
I mean, out of nowhere, it's a Zyra with almost full damage.
That's true.
This guy is another carry. He's just as big of a threat now as Crown, if not even more at this point. He's going to be putting out so much damage, so even though he is a support, he is massive in these fights.
Exactly. Late game Zyra is one of the best supports to have because it basically does the same amount of damage as one of your big carries like the AD carry or the mid laner, and he's able to start taking over, and you have to respect it, but people forget.
And it was critical in this fight because it starts off so poorly for Ambition. Samsung not respecting the flank, the collapse that was coming in. They lose Ambition, and then the shockwave from Faker. Who else but him catching Ruler right here. He jumps forward, kind of disrespectful into SKT.
But then the rest of the damage comes through, just all the area effect damage, the mage and CuVee as well on the tank, putting a lot in.
Yeah, but they absolutely needed those counter kills. If they didn't get those, that could possibly be game there.
Yeah.
If you don't have Ruler, you're not going to win the next fight.
And I mean, a death cap now completed for CoreJJ as well. So he's a full 6-item mage at this point. And that death cap amplifying all his damage from his previous items, plus the additional 16% AP he gets from those 2 Infernal Dragons, means this guy's a monster.
And we're at the point in the game where even the supports now have 6 items, so there are no more pink wards to be purchased and carried in your inventory. So we used to see them. We're going to see the last of them now as they get cleared out.
Makes the vision game even harder. You've got very few things to place down.
Something really big here, though, is that Ambition and CuVee both sold their Guardian Angel and have not got the gold to replace them again. Whereas both of SKT's jungler and top lane have repurchased their Guardian Angels. They have them once again, so they have that second life. So it's almost like 7 lives here for SKT, where it's just the 5 for Samsung, and that can be massive in these all-in fights.
Definitely the case. You're seeing them battle back and forth for Baron control. We know that CoreJJ is hugely threatening, and he can project that threat very far away. He can summon plants from a half screen to almost a full screen away and can put damage in without being in range of counterattack. And he can be one of those ways to get in. Faker doing something similar with Orianna can project threat very far away from himself, and it's a full build mage. You can one-shot one of the squishier champions.
You certainly can, and you can also kill off these objectives that much faster with the Zyra. The plants can tank up the damage from the Baron and from the Elder Dragon, so it's actually hitting them instead of you, meaning it's a lot safer to attempt these.
Yeah, you don't take any meaningful damage. They were going to despawn in 5 seconds anyway. It's not really significant if those do get killed off by neutral monsters.
And now, speaking of neutral monsters, Baron up in 15 seconds. And once again, the pull between the top and the bottom side of the map will happen once more. And it's so hard to get vision down now because you have to use what's in your inventory.
CC twice in a row, running down a half HP. He's going to make it back alive, and a blue buff stolen away. I believe that went over to Ruler, who grabbed it on the Ezreal. So infinite mana for him. Actually, technically increases his damage slightly because of some of the mechanics of his items. Either way, it is a very scary champion if he plays it right.
He even swapped from Mortal Reminder. He actually went for Lord Dominic's Regard, so he swapped the purple bow for the red bow in his inventory. So now he does more damage to people who have more life than him, but he doesn't cut their healing.
And I actually disagree with that choice.
I do too.
I think it's actually just straight up wrong, which is tough
Trundle.
because Trundle heals so much, and yes, you're doing 10% more damage with the Lord Dominic's Regards, or 15 rather, 15, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But he's healing for way more than that.
Nami has a heal. Nami has a Mikhail's Crucible, which also heals in her inventory.
Bang has lifesteal as well. There's a lot of healing.
Not to mention that he's got other important damage dealers on his team. Cutting healing helps other teammates get the damage through, which he definitely has on this composition. So I don't know if it's the reason they'll win or lose the game, but it's still an optimization that does matter at this level of play.
Yeah, he doesn't even have more life than Faker or Bang, so he's actually not getting anything out of that on the 2 people that he really wants to kill.
Yep, but back to the objectives at hand. It is going to be Baron. It is going to be Elder. You guys have been seeing this, and this is actually shaping up to be one of the longest games ever at Worlds. I believe the longest ever was just over 70 minutes, so we're actually closing in on that benchmark. And if Samsung could win a game in something like that, the average game of League of Legends is around 35 minutes or so.
Yeah.
This is ridiculously long.
And again, the fight is on for Elder Dragon, down to about half health, and Samsung Galaxy are here to contest for it.
CuVee needs to TP, though, if he wants to actually be a part of this fight.
He's still top lane right now, and here comes the curtain call, trying to open up, trying to force Samsung Galaxy away.
He's going to look for the TP now,
Tidal Wave is in, gets the knock-up onto only one. It's just Ambition, but it bought some time. Now
here he
CuVee
comes.
wants in, but he's going to be right on the front line. They're going to chase in, looking for Faker. A little bit of damage coming across, and now the knockback. It catches 3. That's massive. It's time for Samsung to make the fight happen. They're going to look for Duke.
They should finish the dragon,
but not enough kills, and it's no, and the dragon resets and runs back to the pit and heals back up, so nothing's being done right now, and Crown is gone, and Crown goes down to Duke. It's a 1-for-0 to SKT so far. Ruler turns it around, but can't find the kill. Now for Wolf, can't get that one either. Almost, it's Bengi, running out of HP, running for dear life.
And it's those Guardian Angels for SKT. Both their frontliners went down, but they come back to life because of it. But critically, Samsung could have killed off the Elder Dragon. They actually had a beautiful ultimate from CuVee, but then the team did not come in to kill it off, and they let it reset. That was a critical mistake, which could have won them the fight very easily with that true damage burn.
And now pressure is back on them because they don't have TP advantage, and it belongs to Duke, who wants to split push anyway and try to get structures. This was like the best Poppy ultimate you could ask for from
This
CuVee.
was incredible. Just watch Poppy come in from the bottom screen. There's the ultimate, knocking 3 members out. Incredible from him, and they need to turn to the Dragon right then and kill it off.
But SKT have the rights to it. Crown is still dead from Samsung Galaxy.
He stole it!
Oh, Ambition with the game-saving
Does he get out?
play.
Does he get out?
Yes, he can. Hops to a board. Bengi's on the chase, but he's not got the damage. Oh, wow.
What a god!
Is the play.
This guy does not want to go home early. He is fighting to stay alive, and now they are ridiculously powerful for 2 minutes. This Zyra, anytime a plant hits you, is going to do hundreds of true damage burn. It's incredibly potent.
And now they have that time to go and take control of this Baron area. They are objectively much stronger than SKT for 2 minutes.
For these 2 minutes, Samsung Galaxy should be able to set themselves up for a game-winning position. The ball is in their court. 2 minutes of power. They've got to make everything happen with this.
They're going for the Baron, but Bengi could steal this too. They have to be careful. This is going to be a smite fight.
Unless they get the knockback, they get the damage. Here's the Poppy ultimate. Keeper's Vodik knocks back a couple, and the team fight is on. How much damage? Shockwave catches 2, but it's only on the Guardian Angel. Duke running out of HP. Bengi dangerously low, getting burned, but the Baron's going to heal back up to full, and SKT managed to make the disengage happen.
They do, and they get another Guardian Angel down there. CuVee once again without that second life. No one has it available except for Ambition at this point, but Samsung, they know they need to force this. They know they need to get it now. They saw Faker in the top lane. They're going to try to rush it. It could come down to a smite fight.
Needs to sweep.
The health bars are low.
Smite
Can they land? The smite's going to go in. Nicely played by Ambition. They got it. Now what else?
Bengi got knocked up by the Baron right then.
He couldn't flash in because Baron. Oh my gosh, and that's a telegraphed ability. Bengi could have played around that to some degree and not been knocked in the air, but pretty fortunate, I gotta say, for Samsung. A misplay for Bengi from SKT, but now it's the last dregs of Elder Dragon plus a Baron buff on all 5. The gold lead is now entirely irrelevant. It is execution and buffs like the Elemental Dregs and Baron Nashor. There are no turrets defending the inhibitors.
And you can see the Ambition trying to get the biggest benefit possible out of this buff. Buffing up these minions in the bot lane, making it more difficult for SKT to deal with it. They have Baron buff minions coming in from all sides right now.
Exactly, and if your Lee Sin is on the right side, you have a much better way to flank if they start focusing your middle, and now they're just pulling a 1-3-1.
They do have to be careful about the engage, though, if they are split up, because CuVee doesn't have TP. He's working on that top lane inhib, though. Samsung, they can smell blood in the water. They want to close the game with this buff.
Oh,
wow.
Right there.
Triple inhibitor down, plus Baron buff. This is a game-winning push in the making for Samsung Galaxy. Looking for it here. CuVee to block the curtain call. Not a lot of damage coming through for Bank right now. The minions are getting picked up, and the turrets are also losing a lot of health right now. Down below half HP on most of them. Looking for the game-winning push, but you've still got to respect the fact that SKT are powerful, and the turrets do a lot of damage.
And Samsung could wait for supers if they want
Duke
to, but
caught.
they're in on Duke.
Duke gets caught, but he gets away from the kick, goes back to his own side of the map. Bang! A little bit low as well, but the first turret does go down, and minions will keep flooding in, and they will only get more powerful. It's going to get harder and harder for SKT for the next few minutes. Tidal Wave comes in. They're looking for Crown. Bubble's not going to get much. Shockwave comes in. Can they pick him up? And they're going to be able to get a kill. Samsung Galaxy. The AD carry takes down Duke. 5v4.
And this is now the longest game of Worlds 2016.
And
we
it's
swear
going
they're
to be
not this long.
Samsung Galaxy. It looks like it's them. The comeback win. They're going to knock down the Nexus, and they're going to bring it to game 4. The comeback win is real.
What an incredible game. 71 minutes in the making. Samsung so far behind in the early game. It all comes down to that Elder Dragon, the smite steal from Ambition, keeping them alive, allowing them to win the fights around Baron, pick up that objective, and end the game.
SKT thought they were clever doing the Elder Dragon with 2 people so that they could keep Samsung at bay on the left side and stop them from doing the Baron, but Ambition was there.
And he made the play that won them the game. He landed the smite. He stole the dragon away. It does not matter how much damage you dealt to the objectives. What matters is who brings the health bar down to 0, and that was Ambition. Over the wall, flying in, making the play, and buffing his team up enough to say, hey, we are in control of the map, and in that 2-minute window, they set up the game win.
And in late game League of Legends, that's the game in a nutshell. It often comes down to who makes the big play, because these big plays can be so impactful. A Baron steal, an Elder Dragon steal, the shockwave that wins a team fight can often end the game, and Ambition was really the star for them this game for me. Ruler was playing incredibly, but it was Ambition kicking in Faker in that fight in the bot lane, allowing them to get back into it, and then the Elder Dragon steal again, just awesome.
Absolutely, and the big thing is the Ezreal Ruler was the stabilization of the game. He kept them in it, and then Ambition made the game-winning plays for the team and was able to actually provide enough peel so that Ruler could operate. And this game, I would love to see the gold graph for it, because I don't think Samsung were ever in the lead. They even win the game down 700 gold still.
Yeah, that seems like it's going to make sense to me there, and it was really just incredible. The story of Samsung is amazing. They, in a sense, weren't even supposed to be here. They were the 4th place finisher in the Korean League, and the way that World Championship qualifying works, though, is if you're not top 2, essentially, you've got to qualify in through a different sort of bracket, and they went up against a team that they were 0-19 against in individual games to find the last spot. It was the team that knocked them down to 4th place, by the way. It's the reason they didn't go any farther in the bracket. 0-19, and they win that series. And then they get pulled into the group of death, where most people didn't think they were going to make it out. They topped the group, losing only a single game. Now they're up against the world favorites, SK Telecom T1, and they finally got a game win. Some people didn't think they would win a single game. And the road to the comeback, the road to the reverse sweep has now been started.
And just to put it into context, they were 2-16 against SKT as well. So this is a team that they have really struggled against. And, you know, 1-2 sounds a lot better than 2-16. So
3-18.
3-18.
Yeah, we'll see if they can bring it
record.
back, though. I mean, if they win this next game, 2-2 in this series versus 2-16 in the last 2 years, it's just incredibly uptrend that this team has been on. They have been improving nonstop. They never say die, and I'm very impressed that they could battle back after a loss in the last game to really kind of just mentally stabilize and win this one.
And that's why I thought this was going to be a much closer matchup than people thought, because this is a completely different Samsung, completely different patch. You know, we talk about the 2-16. Some of those games are from members who aren't even on that team anymore, right?
True.
It's completely a revamped roster for this split. They brought Ruler on. He was not on this roster before, and now he's a big part of it, and he came up huge in that game.
Definitely did. So huge game out of the whole Samsung Galaxy roster. You can give props to pretty much any single person on that team, but it was a beautiful one, and we've got more coming your way. So stick with us, and Game 4 is coming up right after this break. Have fun.